it's I am Boni. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want us to cover about ICAO annexes. So I want us to understand it, to make it very simple for us to understand it in simple terms, because as I told you earlier, we are here to demystify the aviation concepts, technicalities, and those tough words into everyday, like digestible words, like to make it easy for the layman and also for new professionals into the aviation industry, like students. So we are trying to make it easy so that we bring it home. For example, law. Law has its had like it's called jargons. Those are like complex words. So aviation also has its own way of operation. So we are trying to make it very easy for everyday use, for easy aviation. So today, sorry, I want us to try to understand what is called ICAO annexes. ICAO stands for International Civil Aviation Organization. It's a body that regulates and manages, like oversees the aviation operations across the world. It sets standards, guidelines, like what should be done. It lays groundwork on uh, the standards for operations in aviation, and these standards are must be followed by all countries that subscribe to aviation, to ICAO, to the UN. So ICAO is a branch of UN that deals with aviation. So UN is a United Nations. It's a body that a unity of many countries, and it has departments like for health. It has, like for aviation, it has ICAO. For environment, it has UNEP, like United Nations Environmental Program. For children, for environment and heritage. For wildlife, it has something to do with UNESCO. So there is ICAO. So today we are talking about ICAO. So I'm trying to make it easy for, so I think you have gotten the point. So ICAO has what is called annexes. Annexes, these are branches. So when you try to define annex is a branch. It's like a branch of something. For example, my house annex is like an extension. State house annex. So it's like part of state house, but it's located somewhere else. It's a branch. So I think you understand now what's meant by annex. It's like a part of something. So ICAO annexes these are branches. 19 there are 19 annexes. These are 19 like subunits or branches that deals with different aspects of aviation. In aviation, there are different things like licensing of people, there is environmental protection, like there is meteorology, there is accidents investigation, there is security, I've talked about environmental protection. I've said that. There is so many things. So those are annexes, those are branches, and they are grouped into 19 annexes. So Annex 1, for example, talks about personnel licensing. So it lays guidelines and rules and standards for licensing of various personnel, people who operate aircrafts and any other services that make aviation to run. For example, pilots, the aircraft dispatchers, there is air traffic controllers, there is all those personnel. So Annex 1, that's Annex 1. Annex 1 is personnel licensing. So it lays standards for the licensing, like training of those people and certification, and like the medical, maybe the height requirements, the medical requirements for these people. Like for you to be admitted to be a pilot, you must meet these standards in terms of medical. You must have this language proficiency, academic qualifications. So for you to be licensed. So same applies to air traffic control. It has different standards. For aircraft dispatchers, different standards. Crew members, people who serve people on board and those who take care of passengers on aircrafts, there are different standards for their certification, their training. First of all, their absorption, their admission to be trained, their training, their certification. So it lays the ground rules. So that's Annex 1. So I'm trying it for you to make it easy to understand like what is the role of, what is this annexes and what's the role. Yeah, so Annex 1 deals with personnel licensing. Yeah, for you to be licensed as a pilot, what are the requirements? You must be this medically fit, this language proficiency, because you must, for example, they say you must be proficient in English, and you know there is a test that you do, a universal test that is done, so that you must get a certain minimum score for you to be accepted, to be considered proficient. Yeah. So English is the reason why I mentioned English is that English is the common language for aviation. In aviation, yeah, it's the common language across. They use English. Assume you're a pilot. So when you drive your aircraft, maybe from Kenya to Australia or to China, you should be communicating in English with anybody. For example, aircraft controllers, you know, either in Kenya or in those other countries. Yeah. So ICAO annexes, it's like a country. So let me use this example. ICAO, let's say, is a country, and then annexes this is a constitution. Constitution. There is the constitution for labor, constitution for children, like child act, children's act. You know, for children to be treated this one this way, it's criminal offense to do this. So it's like a it's like a constitution. Let me just use that as an example, as a metaphor or something. Yeah, so constitution lays the rules that should be followed in that country so that sanity can be realized, you know. For example, for you to be an educationist in a country, you must meet these requirements. For you to be, for children, to be considered a child, you must be under this age. For example, 16 years and below, you are a child. Or under 16 years, you're a child. Under 17 or under 18, you're a child. So same applies to ICAO annexes. So it's like rules. So take it as a constitution, you know, for aviation. Yeah. And this constitution is universal. It applies to either Kenya, Uganda, Canada, UK, Germany, Sweden, go to Fiji, go to Caribbean countries like, let's say, which country in Caribbean? Jamaica, Barbados, those countries, Argentina. So, and South American countries like Argentina and all those. So that is what I was trying to make it easy to understand ICAO annexes. Yeah, so there are 19 ICAO annexes. So they stand for different branches of in aviation, as the way I explained earlier. So Annex 2, for example, rules of the air. There are air rules, you know, like when you are moving from one country to another. So you have permissions. So like for example, the 5 rules of the air, you know, permissions for you to enter the airspace of another country. So they lay those rules, and they lay those rules, and for you to get permissions, what you should do, and you must be permitted, you know, for you to enter a particular region, the airspace. You remember, a country has both land and air. They both own the land and a particular altitude of the air. Yeah, so you must obtain permission to enter that airspace, and to be considered legally legal. You know, for you to be legal, for you not to be considered an intruder or a criminal or a terrorist, or you know, to be charged. And you know, when you are considered a terrorist, you may not operate in future, or you may fall into problems. You may be charged in court. You may be imprisoned. So rules are actually there, and consequences for not following those rules. Yeah. So like Annex 3 covers meteorological services. So the types of wind speed, airspeed, those things, the weather. So like measurements, weather measurements, wind speeds, the temperatures, the altitudes, all those services that work to make aircraft flight safe in terms of environment, in the environment. Yeah, so they measure all those things, and standards. They have standards for, like, for example, for you to fly in this altitude, you must check this temperature. You must ensure that the temperature is this way, the outside temperature is this way, the wind speed is this way, and also the air. You know, the higher you go there, the thinner the air is. Like, there is no much air up. Yeah, so those things, meteorology, and also to do with I've said temperature, mostly temperature, wind, and wind speed, and also the altitude. So the altitude affects the air. Like the higher you go, the thinner the air is. Yeah, so the in ground here there is a lot of air, but on up there there is not so much air. So like what should be done in different situations whereby you are flying near the ground or very high up where there is not much air. So let's ground the rules for those meteorological services. Yeah, like those rules are laid under meteorological services. Sorry for that. Yeah. So you follow all the ICAO annexes. The annex number 10, for example, aeronautical telecommunication, like it covers like the equipment used for telecommunication, how telecommunication be done, all those stuff. Yeah, like Annex 12, for example, search and rescue. In case there is an accident for an aircraft, how should search and rescue be conducted? Who should conduct it? How like the equipment to be used, and how it should be done. So it lays to all those standards. Yeah, so it's basically like um, it's basically like a constitution for aviation. So I hope you have understood something. I've used so many examples, and I'm trying to bring the point home. And I hope you have gotten what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Annex 16, the way I've said before, some things I keep repeating because I'm trying to stress it for easy understanding. Annex 16, for example, talks about environmental protection. Yeah, like now, currently, there is this thing about climate change in the world. So there is a move towards cleaner energy, more energy efficient operations, and that affects aviation as well. So there is a move to use certain amounts of environmentally friendly aviation fuel. It's called SAF. Yeah, SAF, jet fuel that is environmentally friendly. Yeah, so environmental protection like deals with how to make aviation operations environmentally friendly, to avoid the emission of a lot of carbon and make it like green, for example. Yeah, let me use the word green operations and efficiencies in aviation to ensure that we protect and conserve our environment. Yeah, so that is it, guys. So I was trying to bring the point home about ICAO annexes, and I hope you have understood something from that. It's like just aviation constitution. Thank you so much. Be blessed. My name is Bonnie, and this is Aviation Lovers with Bonnie. Be blessed. Bye bye.